Okay, as a follow-up video, Wednesday, 2 days ago, I was at Fry's and they had these brand new Asus x99 series, x99 Deluxe motherboards. They actually didn't have them out, but one of the sales reps told me they just got them in the back. So I bought one, made a video, a few people asked some questions, and so I thought I'd make this follow-up video. One of the questions was, what's all the other equipment that I have in the system? So I have the Asus x99 Deluxe motherboard. I have Corsair Dominator Platinum, already with the hacking, DDR4 memory. It's 4 gig DIMMs and it's 2800 megahertz. I think the latency is pretty high on it. That's these guys. It was like 18 or something if I read it right. What was kind of interesting putting them in too was that, let's shine some light on the subject, kind of tripped me out. I was looking at the alignment on this right side here for where the center pin was. You know, it's always, you know, off center, and then you know where to stick them in. So I kind of lined it up like this, where it had the Dominator but no label, and then I started to put it in on this side, on these banks 1 and 2, to start over there, but I couldn't see them very well. I could just see this side, and they didn't fit. And I thought, oh no, you know, we don't have the good memory. You see how there's a label on these, but no label on these. And it turns out the banks 1 and 2 are the opposite orientation, where the key, the off-center key, is on a different side than over here. So it kind of tripped me out for a second. I mean, it only took a second, but I got all panicky thinking I wasn't going to be able to fire this up today, that I had the wrong memory. But you just flip these over, and you just look at the key, you know, flip them over, and then, but yeah, I can't remember a motherboard. I've been building systems since the 80s, and can't remember a motherboard where the bank key flipped over. But yeah, it does here. So yeah, so I got the 16 gigs, 2800 megahertz, DDR4 memory for it, and I got the Intel i7 5960X, 3 gigahertz. It's 20 meg cache and 8 cores. They told me when I bought this Wednesday, can't see the CPU anyway under the cooler, but they told me at Fry's that my i7 2011 socket chip would work, but they lied. They did not know what they're talking about. You have to have the version 3, so it has, you know, different little keys on the mount. Won't even work. You know, I've been doing this forever, so I saw it right away. I always take my time and stuff, and yeah. So then they wouldn't tell me that till Wednesday. That was the whole, I mean, till Friday. Today was the whole deal. But they had them today, and I was able to go buy them. Oh yeah, somebody asked me price. I don't remember the price. I got it around here somewhere. I'll write it in the notes. It's like 400, 420 or something for the motherboard. I'll put some notes on it, and then it was like 1,050 for the processor. Then I got the EVGA GTX 760 FTW 4 gigabyte, and it was pretty funny. I bought the first one, like none of these builds go easy, and came in a box. It had the security wrapping on it, and then no note saying it was used before by another customer, but came and it was all stinky, burnt electronics. It was all dirty. It didn't have anything in the box but the card. Even the big game poster was nabbed. So I think we had, you know, some junior, 13 years old, torched the thing, took the game. There was no disc with it, you know. Took the game disc, if there's a game on it, I haven't even checked, and the poster, and had his fun with it for a while, smoked it all out, and then yeah, threw it in the box and got them to take it back. So it's nice to get a good one. They have protectors on the tongues now that you stick into the expansion slot, and I don't remember seeing that on a card before, so that's kind of a nice little rubber protector, and it had a plastic you know, stick-on cover over the main body. I got to peel all that off. On the burnt out one, there's none of that stuff. So that's kind of my video card story. Yeah, I was saying in the other video, got the the 2 solid state drives, 500 gig and a terabyte. And yeah, I think, you know, people talk about the price of this stuff nowadays, and I don't really get it because I've been doing this since the 80s. And, you know, when we were paying, you know, $5,000 for a 10 megabyte drive, maybe $10,000, I think, for the first 10 megabyte drive, and $600 for a floppy drive unit, you know, that would hold a floppy in it. It was just $600 for those, and yeah, all this stuff. So, you know, to pay in the low hundreds, you know, for these SSD drives, it's just, they're so nice. I mean, they're deadly quiet, so you have no noise, no heat, very little energy draw, seem to be super reliable. So I'm pretty stoked on SSD, but, you know, still IDE for backup. Yeah, I got this Thermaltake Tough Power Grand 850 watt. I used the last few Thermaltake 850s from my last few systems, and, you know, it's probably not, you get a good focus. Oh, that was good. Probably not state of the art. I've never really done my homework on who's the best, you know. Well, I haven't done it lately. In the old days, you know, it's probably a Sparkle when you're talking like 15 years ago. No focus on that guy. But yeah, it's a Thermaltake 850 watt Tough Power Grand. And yeah, had good luck with them. They have them at Fry's, so that's that's the main thing. I didn't have to go do some homework and order something better online, but you know, there's probably something better. And yeah, I guess you guys always say the Corsair H100i liquid cooler, and then I took off the stock fans, which really did not sound bad. They only sounded you know, loud when they were cranking full maximum speed. Otherwise, when they were in their normal operation, I didn't think they were bad at all. And I don't like sound, you know, I don't like noise. I like to build quiet PCs, but I thought they were pretty good, actually. But everybody talked about them being noisy, so, and everybody talked about going with the Noctuas. So these are the NF-F12 PWM, so the 4-pin with the power management. And yeah, they're okay. You know, they're definitely quieter at the full maximum. I don't think they're not perceptibly quieter at normal operation. May make more noise for all I know, but they're perceptibly quieter at max RPM, which happens when you boot up, and then they go to the regular speed, normal speed, controlled speed. So I guess it was worth it, or maybe I'm saying I guess it wasn't. But anyway, they're up there. I also put them in my case. Put the 140s in my case. Those are the NF-A14 PWMs, 2 of those in the front of the case. Those to me seem to be noticeably louder, not than the case fans that I never tried, but I tried the dead silence fans, which the only thing I didn't like was it didn't have power management on it. But I had these on the case controller. It has a low and high speed controller for your case fans, chassis fans, and so the I set that up with the Noctuas, and it was just way too loud. But the Aerosport, whatever they are, the dead silence fans, were much quieter. Now I don't know if that has an there's so much of this stuff it's hard to be scientific on. I don't know what the RPMs each was running at. I didn't run any test equipment. They might have been running at different RPMs with the chassis controller. But the Noctuas were definitely way loud. I didn't like it at all, even on the low speed. So I threw them on the motherboard, and now they're running at a lower RPM, and they're plenty quiet enough. You know, it's almost silent, but not quite. But the dead silent were definitely quieter. So I would rather have the dead silent fans in there, 140s in the chassis. But I do like the power management extra signal cable that they don't have on them. I guess you could get a module maybe and stick it in line. But that was an interesting little thing. Case is the Corsair 760T, which is, you know, the best engineered case I've ever run across. You can put, you know, all toolless. You got 6 drives in the front, 4 SSDs in the back. That's 10. You got 3 5.25 driveways up here that you can add more hard drives to if you want. Everything's toolless. It's really, you know, easy to make all the cabling, really neat. The one thing that was sad was I really wanted, you know, my intake air through the front of the chassis and my exhaust air on an ADI, H80i cooler back here on the rear of the case, you know, kind of old school normal style. And that's what I wanted to do. So I have a Corsair big full chassis. I have Corsair memory. This happened on the DDR3 as well with my x87 Deluxe, x79 Deluxe, sorry, and the same Dominator Platinum memory that, you know, with their cooler, which is over here, you know, that's where I put the ADI, their case, their cooler, their memory, it hits. You can't even put the screws in, you know, it needs to at least be a 1/4 inch further away, which they have room for here. If they lined up their 120 holes over here with their 140 holes, it's just having them go in, had to go up or down, you could get it in. But it's their chassis, their memory, and their cooler, and it's their best memory, best chassis, and best cooler, and it doesn't work. It doesn't fit together. You'd have to sheet metal and drill out the back of your case. And then I thought, well, I didn't want it going up, but I went ahead and tried the H80i up, and then it ran into the motherboard. So there was just no getting there from here. So I settled in on the H100i, and, you know, it's a nice unit and everything, and it fits and it makes it easy to get to the memory, so it's kind of all good. But I usually, before, I kept my monitor on top of my computer, so that's not going to happen now, because then my computer would burn up for lack of airflow. The other thing that happened too is they recommended, Corsair recommends in their manual for their H100i, they recommend that you put the fans as intakes, so these would be blowing down in this case. And I tried that. I got I was just running at 82 Fahrenheit, you know, so I mean it was working very good. It's very cool, and then, you know, exhausting out the front. But I would really prefer it to be the intake in the front and exhaust out the top here. So I this time reversed the fan so that they're pushing through, and this will be the exhaust. So we'll see if it, you know, changes much on the 82 degrees Fahrenheit. But it's not going to be scientific again, because I'm not running a 6-core 2011 chip that I had in here. I'm running an 8-core 2011 version 3, so not apples to apples, but I think it's going to work fine. I don't really ever overclock anything anyway. I just I want a real stable system, because these are workstations, they're not game machines. What did I forget? People seem to be interested in this stuff, so I guess I will say it. But what else I got on here on my notes about questions that people asked? If you're already stopped watching this video, I understand, but yeah, some people seem interested. Oh yeah, the whole compound thing. Since I reinstalled a couple times, you know, you gotta spread out your own compound on the cooler. I would have liked to have, you know, used one of the highly recommended ones online. I would have had to do some homework on that too. There's been different ones through the years since I've been doing this so long, but at Fry's, all they had was this Antec, and I don't know if I can get that in focus, but it's Formula 7 Nano Diamond thermal compound. So I tried that, and I did my old trick. You guys probably all know all these things, but when I put it on there, I use a razor blade. So they had a nice little adapter in the box, and your spreader, so I use that to kind of get it around where I wanted it, and then I take a razor blade and cut it, you know, and make it real thin and tight. So I did that, and we'll see how that affects the temperature too versus the stock stuff, which got to be a little more dry and gummy, but sits on there for a while. Did that, and I'm looking at these other notes here. Oh, one thing I didn't say about the motherboard before, you know, I did mention about these 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 13. Where's my 13 internal SATA 6 gig Intel SATA 6 gig ports, and then you have the 1 or the 3 from the ASMedia. So you got 3 ports from ASMedia, and then you got 13. They're all 6 gig, SATA 6 gig. But on the back of the case, and I think that ASMedia is meant to have some externals, but on the back of the case too, I don't think I mentioned that all the USB ports are USB 3 except for 1. So 2, 4, 6, 8, 10 USB 3 ports, and 1 USB 2 port. I also noticed that on the Wi-Fi connector, let's see, this will not focus. I haven't looked into this yet. I will later tonight. There's 3 connectors for the Wi-Fi and Bluetooth adapter, where there was only 2 on my x99 Deluxe. So I don't know if it's a little bit better chipset firmware or has more features, but I kind of checked that out. What are the questions? Yeah, I think I told you guys. They said yeah, I did, that they told me my 2011 chip would fit in there, socket 2011, but it didn't. Has to be 2011 version 3. And I think that's like all my notes. Yeah, I think that's everything. So if I didn't bore you to tears yet, that is today's update, and I'm ready to fire this thing up right now and check out what the performance is like. Okay, there you have it.